Welcome to NAS, the National Ability Support System. This video will show you how to transfer, deactivate or delete a record from your service provider. To access the record, click on Workflow and fill out the details on the search screen. Click on Search Service Users. When the record is returned in the output, click on Edit. The function of transfer, deactivate and delete are all kept within the Admin tab. Click on the Admin tab and you will see that these buttons will open up below. The first one is the Transfer Out option. You will notice that the next two buttons have been kind of grayed out, and these are functions of the HSE. As a service provider, all you need to do is complete the Transfer Out button and the HSE will do the rest. Click on Transfer Out. If you know where the individual is going, it is very helpful for the HSE to include this in the information. So at question 90, Receiving Service Provider, please complete the details. I'm saying that this individual is going from Ability West to BOC in Galway. Because Ability West and BOC Galway are within the same CHO area, you do not need to complete question 91. However, if you are transferring to a service provider in a different CHO area, then you will complete this by either selecting from the drop-down or just clicking in and typing the number of the CHO. In this case, it is not necessary. The date will automatically default for you to today's date. Once you click on Transfer, you will no longer have access to this record as your service provider is no longer involved in the person's care. Click Transfer. You will see you will be taken completely out of the record. If, however, you are still offering a secondary service to this individual, you will have view access to the record. Now I'm just going to change the account I'm in the training to a HSE account so I can show you the next steps. This record will now be transferred onto BOC in Galway. So when the HSE staff member logs in, they will see that they have 6 records in their transfer pool. They can click on View to access these records. Because there are only 6, they can see the names pretty quickly. If there were a lot more, they would go into Workflow and search for the name. Here we have John Quinn. So they will go into Edit to transfer the record on. Again, we go to the Admin tab. Now you will see that these 2 buttons are now available to the HSE staff member. If the individual is being transferred to a service provider in a different CHO, they will click on this button and complete the CHO where the individual is going. In this case, they are staying in the same CHO area, so they do not go into this button at all. Instead, they were going to the Transfer to Service Provider button. Here, it has already been identified by the original service provider where this person is going. So they just click and confirm this is actually correct where the individual is going. You can either put in the name or the number of the service provider and then select it from the list. Put in the date you were doing this, as it may not be the same date as the original transfer. Click Transfer. Remember, this is being done by a HSE staff member. Again, they will be taken out of the record. The final step in the transfer is for the BOC in Galway to now receive this record. So I'm going to change the account again for demonstration purposes. And select BOC Galway. So when BOC Galway now log in, they can search by going to Workflow and search for this individual. Click Search Service User. You will see that the service provider now for John Quinn is BOC Galway. Let's go into this record to look at deactivation and delete. So we will go into Edit. Again, you go into Admin for this functionality. This time we were going to deactivate record. Deactivation is used if an individual is leaving your service provider, but maybe you anticipate that they may be returning within a few months. So instead of losing that data, you deactivate the record and then you can reactivate it as soon as the person comes back into your service. Alternatively, if you do not know where the person is going, it is probably better to deactivate the record than transfer to the HSE, as they will not be aware where the person is going to. Click on Deactivate Record and look at the drop-down options. It may be because the person has emigrated, they are no longer eligible following a review, or they have not been reviewed. They may not have been reviewed because they haven't been attending your service for some time and you have not been able to contact them. Let's take this option, Not Reviewed. And as soon as you hit Deactivate, you no longer will have access to this record. If this person comes back into your service provider a few months later or even a year later and you want to find them again, you can either select by putting in their name or you can check by status. The option here you're looking for is inactive. If you have deactivated a record, their status is now inactive. If you want to see how many people are inactive in your service provider, click this option and then click on Search Service Users. Here you will see the list of people. There are many pages here, because this is a training website. So I'm just going to pick any record to go in and show you how to reactivate it. So from the list, select the person you need. Let's say in this case, it's Tom Green, who has now come back into your service. Click Reactivate. And that's as simple as it is. You may need to clean up the record or make changes to it. The last thing I wanted to show you in this training video is to delete a record. Again, this is under the Admin tab. Click on Admin. If you delete a record, it is gone for good. You cannot reinstate it, so use this carefully. The only reason we would usually check use delete is if the person was inappropriately registered, maybe because it was a duplicate record, or it was migrated from the previous system and no longer matches the registration criteria. Look at the reason for deletion. All we have is inappropriately registered, so you can select this and click Delete. You are then brought out of the record and that record is gone. This is the end of the training video.